Hi, my name is Steve Schmidt. I am the web advisor here at Effect Web Agency. And I want to help you take control of your website content with WordPress. And there's three things we'll do in this video. One is to show you what it's like to edit your website with WordPress. Two is to show you what the main benefits of WordPress are and how it compares to other what's called content management systems, or CMS. And then the third thing is how you can talk with your web developer about using WordPress on your new site, because what you don't want to do is end up having a nice new site but still no ability to get in there and edit it yourself, or using some other kind of CMS system that doesn't have the benefits that WordPress has. And we'll cover those benefits as the second point in this video. So first, let's talk about how you can take control of editing your content. You do not need to be a web developer to make text changes to images, even do stuff like if you had a floor plan database on your website, you can edit those floor plans. You can do a lot of things yourself, and with just a little bit of orientation, maybe a little bit of training, and maybe even a how-to handbook from your developer, you or someone on your team can take the reins on your website and keep it up to date and not pay a web developer their hourly rate just to update simple things. Because I would much rather see people put that money into attracting visitors to their website that they can convert into customers to grow their company, rather than just spend that money on updating text and images. Okay, so the first point of this video, let's see what it's like to edit a page, an image, and a menu with WordPress. So here is a demo test WordPress site. It's actually a copy of a live site that was recently launched. So this is a page just about their fountains and aeration service. It's actually one of the simpler pages on the website. We've got some text, an image, a map, and a nicely laid out call to action here. And at this point, all I've done is I've gone to the WordPress login link and I've entered my username and password, and I am logged in and I'm looking at the front of the website. So let's say we want to update this page. Up here at the top I have my black bar because I'm logged into WordPress. So I'm just going to open the edit page in a new tab so that I have the front end open and then I have the back end open at the same time. So let's switch over to the back end. Okay, so here is the edit page screen. And the edit page screen is almost exactly the same as it is to edit a blog post or edit some other kind of item. Like if you had a floor plan database in here and you were editing a floor plan, it may look very much like this as well. So anyways, here's the title of the page. We can change that if we want. Here's the link of the page. We can change that if we want. And here is the content of the page. And this is just like editing an email or a Word document. For example, let's say we want to put a bulleted list right there. Click the bullet list thing. Put some stuff in there, some things, and whatever else we want. Let's say we want to link this thing up somewhere. Well, I just select it, click the link button, and I can paste in a link, or I can choose a page that already exists on our website, the About page. Add link. There it is. Let's say I want to put an image in here, and I want to align it so that it shows up over in this area beside the text. Well, I'm going to put my cursor right there. I'm going to go to Add Media, and it shows me a list of all the images I've uploaded to my site before in case I want to use one of those again. Or I can click on this tab to upload a brand new file from somewhere on my computer. Let's say I just want to grab the photo of this little pond here, and I want to align it to the right. I don't want this image to link to anything. And the size, I want to make it a little smaller, so I'll make it a medium size. Click the insert button. There's my image. I can even move it around if I want to a different part of the page. Maybe I want to align it to the side of this paragraph. There we go. Let's say I'm done editing. All I do now is click the update button. Okay, great. Page is updated. Let's view the page. Here it is. There's our text that we changed. We took out the other stuff just for purposes of showing you how to edit this page. There's our image. Still have the sidebar over there because we didn't change that. And we still have the image up here because we didn't change that either. So that's basically what it's like to edit a page or a blog post or many other things that you might edit through WordPress. Let's say I want to see a list of all of my pages. Well, over here, while I'm inside the back end of WordPress, here's my menu. And don't worry, there's only probably about 3 things on this whole menu that you'll probably really ever need to get into. There's just a lot of extra things that are mostly used when the site is initially created or the developer may use from time to time. So it's really only a few things. So let's click on Pages, and that's going to load up all of the pages on my site. Here they are, and we can sort them by date or whatever we want. So here's the About page and the Aquatic Vegetation Survey page, etc. If I want to edit one of those, I just click Edit. I can even clone one of those to make another page that is very similar to it in format, and then just edit out the text. Let's say I want to add a page. Just come up here and click on the Add New Page button. Does this look familiar? So it's the same exact format, or I should say interface, to enter our title, our content, clicking Publish, and then we've got additional options down here like taking control of the search engine optimization settings and setting a featured image, like the big image that showed up across the top of the page, for example. So if we were to fill in these couple of things and press Publish, we'd have a new page ready for people to view, and it's really easy to get it in the menu. Here's how we would do that. You would just come down here to Appearance, Menus, and then over here in this area, we are looking at our menu structure. So we've got Home and Ponds, and under Ponds we have all this other stuff, which is this drop down. And then Lakes we have a drop down, and then About we have a drop down. So let's say we made a new page called New Service. Yeah, let's just add that one in there, even though we've got it in here a couple times already. What we would do is just check it. Okay, we're ready to add it to the menu, and it's going to stick it down here at the bottom. What we can do is just put our mouse over it and drag it anywhere we want. Let's put it under the About page. Or we could make it a brand new main menu heading if we don't indent it. Let's stick it under About. Go up here to Save Menu. Great, the primary menu has been updated. We can go out to the front end and just reload the page to get the latest copy and look under the About menu, and there it is, our new service page. We can click on it to see the new service information, which is not yet complete. Well, what do you think so far? Would you be able to make those kinds of changes, or is there someone on your team that would like to do that? You certainly can. So let's move on to the second part of our video, which is talking about why WordPress. What are the benefits for your organization that save you lots of time, money in building the site, maintenance costs later, and how does WordPress actually help you do more that is difficult or not really doable with other systems? So we already know that out of the box with WordPress we can edit the site. There's 2 things with WordPress that are awesome that can save us lots of time and cut costs, allowing you to do a lot more. And the first thing is leveraging a professional WordPress theme. And a theme is like the visual layer. Behind the visual you have the database that stores the page content, and you have the coding that knows how to put the page together when somebody tries to load it. The theme is how that content is going to look. And so a professional theme is basically like a packaged look or a packaged toolkit of visual components that you can use to build the website's look. So we're going to open up one of these professional themes, and I'm going to show you kind of what this is exactly. So what you're looking at right now is a theme, a demo of a theme. This one just happens to be called Armada. It's a very modern looking presentation with a big slider on the home page. You can, skip ahead on images, and here's our menu and there's a bunch of other stuff down here. So you can see that a designer put this together. They created all these elements. They've built in these kind of gallery features to it. A bar of logos or credentials or associations, these team member elements, these counter things, these icons with paragraphs next to them, what your footer may look like. So they've put this whole thing together. They've designed it. They've browser tested it on the 10 browsers that matter. They've made it mobile responsive, which means that this thing will wrap and it will line up vertically and resize if you load this on a smaller screen automatically. So out of the box, because you have a theme that's mobile responsive, it works on anything, even a small phone. So what's the difference here between a theme and a custom design, and how does that work together, or what is that? Well, here's our approach to that. We love doing custom design. We also really like leveraging themes. How do you know which direction to go? Really comes down to, does the custom design, does having a custom design, does that provide some kind of specific tangible value to you? Because there are companies where, like there's a trade show company that they turn a brand into a 3D space, and for them having a custom design where they can make their branding communicate a 3D space or how cool they can design these 3D spaces is important to them. So having a custom design made for their presentation may have some real value when they are presented to their potential clients. Other companies, like maybe a technology company or a company that provides some kind of service like cleaning or who knows what, a custom design for them doesn't really provide value. Like they could go with a theme or a custom design, and their audience really wouldn't care either way, as long as it looked good, as long as it was easy to get around, and as long as they had a good offer that the customer wanted to take. So there's nothing wrong with custom design, but it really should be done when and to the extent that it is valuable to your organization. I have seen multiple companies will spend $30,000 on a website, and it looks great and it's mobile friendly and it's awesome. They had it custom designed, and when I look at those, I look at them and I think, well, I've seen templates that look almost exactly like that. Or if you took this template and customized the header portion of it and changed the font and the color, it would basically and actually very closely be what they just got, except for a fraction of what they spent. So think about themes as something you can leverage when it makes sense to leverage them. They come with all these components, pre-designed, pre-tested, and mobile-friendly. And the thing about themes is you change whatever you want to change on it. So it's kind of like a toolkit for building the visual presentation to your website. So you change the logos, you change the font, you'll have your own menu in it, you'd have your own content in it, you'd have your own colors in it. You wouldn't have to have purple, for example. Even when it comes to laying out pages, your about page doesn't have to look like this. You might say, well, I want this part, and then I want a couple of these icons next to that. You can mix and match and reorganize these components. So again, it's like a toolkit for your web developer to craft together your website with a massive head start. By leveraging a theme, you can easily save 30 to 70 hours or more in your website project. And that also means you can launch faster. Let's take a quick look into this example theme a little bit more. You can see by putting your mouse over the demo that there's just a lot of different features that come with it. There's a ton of different gallery styles, for example. There's all these. There's grids, there's different albums, there's kind of the masonry, which kind of looks like a Pinterest kind of thing. And yeah, these demos usually have some pretty interesting looking photos on them just to dress them up. But let's go to the blog list. There's different ways to show your blog. You can have it as a grid or a list. And then if we go under short codes, okay, there's your grid. If we go under short codes, you've got all these different kinds of elements that you can leverage, like those counters, those numbers that we're counting up. Or let's check this out, before and after. So this is kind of a neat tool where if you have two photos that you want to show before and after of, you can slide it back and forth. We use that on this website down here to show before and after cleaning out this pond, and you can see, how effective that can be as long as there's two photos that are pretty close before and after. Other elements that come with it include, pricing tables. Let's take a look at that, or maps, contact forms, different kinds of buttons, or expanding areas. So here's the pricing tables. Let's take a look at the accordion and toggle things. So it kind of looks like this. This stuff is already made, browser tested, everything. We can simply configure or change it how we want to, if we want to change it. This theme already comes with everything you need for the shopping cart area, so your designer and developer don't have to create what that's going to look like. So here's what the shop homepage looks like by default. With the sidebar, we get filters built in, drop downs to choose colors, or this could be anything. This could be sizes, it could be location, it could be whatever, a search. So all this stuff is already there. Nobody has to recreate the wheel to have it there. One of the other awesome things about WordPress is that you can customize it or the themes in any way you want. So here's an example. I want to show you two websites that use the exact same theme. This one here, it's a bit older, but still nice. And this one. Exact same theme, but there was a step in the project where we spent some design time to lightly customize the theme with some additional graphics, but we still had a 75% head start by leveraging that theme. So you can make it look any way you want to. It's going to look like your own. Nobody's going to know it's a theme, and really nobody cares because it's such a smart way to get ahead that it's becoming more and more and more common. Okay, so now we're basically done talking about themes. So you've learned that a theme is a visual layer. You can get a huge head start with it. They can look awesome. And you can decide if you want to use a theme basically as it is out of the box, rearranging stuff on the page, of course, or if you want to customize it a little, or you can change it a lot and still get value out of using the nuts and bolts that come with it. So now we're going to talk about the second biggest benefit of WordPress that's going to help you get ahead and save your resources for more important things, such as attracting traffic to convert them into customers. So this is called plugins. Now there are other CMSs, content management systems, with plugins, but not nearly as many plugins that WordPress has. WordPress on their own website has about 37,000 plugins. Now it doesn't mean that all of these are great, but it does mean there are a lot of great ones. And there's also other plugins you can get from other websites, some that you can pay for, and you're talking, between $5 and usually $15 or $20, sometimes $100. But anyways, what plugins do is they add functionality and features to your website. So this one, for example, helps turn your website, your WordPress website, into kind of its own social network, like it says, with member profiles, what they're doing, user groups, messaging. It's kind of like a big giant forum, like a modern forums. This one adds a bunch of different features to your website, like auto-publishing stuff to your social media accounts. This one blocks against spam through your forms. This one makes your website load much faster because it caches things. There's also plugins that allow you to create a members area or employees login area. So instead of spending developer time to recreate the wheel, like if something were to take 20 to 30 hours to make, there's a good chance there's a plugin out there that does what you want already, that is a nice high quality plugin that you can count on, that you can install and configure and spend maybe something like 5 hours on it rather than 20 hours on it. What's also neat about plugins is when you pick one that's rated well and lots of people use, there's a ton of other people that have already tested it and have helped the developer debug it. If you create something of your own, then you've got to debug your own stuff. You've got to pay for that. You've got to fix it. You've got to maintain it. But with plugins, you can just update them from time to time and then confirm that, everything's still working on your site and working well. But anyways, it's a burden that you don't need to carry. So why create the wheel if you don't have to? Our approach is, we love custom programming things, but if there's a good plugin that's going to do the job, great, let's use it. Save the time, put those resources we freed up into getting your traffic and growing your organization. And you know what? There's other times where you'll find a plugin that, it does about 80% of what we want, but it's not quite there. Well, the awesome thing about WordPress is that you can customize anything you want to about it. The code is open source. You can get to anything. So it's really the best of both worlds. You get this huge leg up and all these components you can use, but you also can customize them in any way. So let's say we got one of these plugins and it did most of what we wanted, but you know what? We really want a few other things into it. Well, great. We can add those things into it. So now you've paid for a developer to spend a fraction of the time on something to get exactly what you want because we've leveraged a plugin. And now you can focus on what really matters, your vision and your goals. Okay, so let's talk about a third big benefit to WordPress. WordPress is by far the most popular content management system on the planet. Like this statistic in front of you says, it powers 23% of all websites in the world. So there's nothing that comes close to it. Other popular systems such as Drupal and Joomla have more people making an exodus from those content management systems to WordPress by far than the other way around. Other content management systems can be very nerdy and technical to update, or more buggy, or they're overkill for what you need, or they're just not as popular, or they don't have the other benefits like we mentioned, like themes, the wealth of themes, plugins, and so forth. And because it's so popular, it's also, growing. It's been growing for years, for 10, 11, 12 years now, and more developers are using it, and it's just gaining such a momentum. So it's very easy for you to find a WordPress developer, a developer that's familiar with WordPress. It's programmed with the PHP programming language and MySQL databases, which is the most common setup for websites. So it's not a new programming language, and it's the most common CMS. Let's say your web developer goes away somehow, or you want another one. It's very easy to find another developer fluent in WordPress. Much easier than finding somebody with knowledge on any other content management system. And if you've had a website, or if you will have a website custom programmed from scratch, and then you need to find a new developer later on, that can be very costly for the new developer to get in and study the code and figure out how it's working together and make changes to it. Whereas with WordPress, it's a very standard setup. The structure is known by the people who work in WordPress. So it's much easier to switch out your website developers if you need to. One quick note I want to mention to you is there's two WordPresses. And this I can quickly break this down for you. There's WordPress.org, which is what we've been talking about. That's the open source WordPress that you or a developer can download, host wherever you want, use plugins and themes and all that stuff on, and customize. WordPress.com is a very simplified version that is provided as a paid service from WordPress. So you can go to WordPress.com, pay them about $100 a year. That covers your hosting with them and creates a simple WordPress site. But you cannot install plugins. You can't use the higher end themes. You can't customize it nearly as much. It's just much, much more simplified. And it's really for those who need a website that's basically a blog. If you do much more than making a blog, then you really do need WordPress.org. I mean, you can make a simple company website on WordPress.com, but it is very limiting. So that's really the difference. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Think about, why are you making a new website? What is the big vision that the company has that the website is supposed to be contributing to? If you can leverage things like WordPress and plugins and so forth in a smart way, you can spend a lot less time recreating the wheel and just building, and you can have a lot more energy, time, money, resources to put into using the website as a tool to grow your organization, to attract visitors and to convert them into customers. So when you talk with your developer, there's a few questions you could ask them so that you're sure that you're going to have control over your website and that they are going to give you control with the right content management system that's really best for you. Because WordPress is not always the best in every situation. I just have found it to be the best in most typical organization website build project situations. So the first question that you could ask your developer is, hey, will we be able to update our content and images and add new pages on our own after this is launched? If the answer is no, well, then you probably, if that's important to you, then you need to ask them about, well, we really want a content management system. How about WordPress? If they say yes, you will be able to do that. Well, you can ask them, well, what content management system would we get? Now, some web developers still custom build their own in-house. The good thing about those is they tend to be pretty simple to use. The bad thing is they coded it. If you go somewhere else, you may not be able to take that admin section with you. It's also very difficult for another developer to do anything other than just, they can't really edit it or change it for you, or it would be pretty costly. It ties you to that developer. Now, if they say, well, hey, we're going to use Joomla or Drupal or some other, content management system, there's millions of them out there. What I would ask is, I wouldn't assume that WordPress is still the best for you. I would say, how does this compare to WordPress in our situation? What are the pros and cons to us? And they should be able to make that clear to you why they've chosen something else over WordPress for you and how it makes the most sense for you. If there's not a clear reason, then I would say it's probably because their preference or they have experience in something else like Drupal or whatever. And that is more of a benefit or a reason and a preference of theirs rather than looking out into your best interest, or I should say it might be. So I would say get a clear answer on that. Why should we use something else other than WordPress, and understand specifically why, if that's better for you. Otherwise, if you go with another system, there's a lot of good ones, but you would not have all the themes, you would not have all the plugins. It's not going to be nearly as easy to find another web developer that can work with your site and all those other benefits and things that we went through. So just be, my purpose here today is to keep you, give you that understanding and knowledge so you can have the discernment to make the right decision for your organization when you go about your next website. I really hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. There's a form right below the video where you can request a free strategy session with me. And what we do in that is we talk about your vision, your goals, and possible ways to get there with the website and web marketing to size those things up for you. And if you're not ready for that, scroll down a little bit further and there's a way that you can subscribe to more videos and practical, insightful articles and tutorials, like the one that you've seen today. So thank you very much and take care.